Check 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. Check 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. All right, welcome to another great episode of Framing New Heights, where we explore the insights and strategies that propel us towards our greatest potentials. I'm your host, Michael Hicks, and today's topic I actually love, and it's all about the transformative power of doing the little things and how they contribute to monumental results in our lives. Have you ever gotten like the eye roll, maybe smacking of the lips, or that big sigh? Those little moments truly begin to set the tone for who we are and what is around us. Am I right? So, doing the little things, guess what, y'all? They create big results. All right. And I'm going to go in a little bit on all of this today as we talk about this. But in our journey towards success, it's easy to become fixated on grand gestures and significant milestones. However, it's often the accumulation of small, intangible, constant actions that lay the foundation of our biggest achievements. Whether it's our personal life or our professional life, the principle remains the same. The little things truly do matter. You know, I want to begin to examine the concept of little things first of all. These are constant, especially in our daily routines. From the moment we wake up in the morning, our habits and rituals shape the trajectory of our day. This is why my day always starts the night before. And in fact, if you want to learn more about that, you can listen to that on one of my other episodes in the podcast, Framing New Heights. Something as seemingly insignificant as just making our bed in the morning, truly, y'all, sets the tone for what I believe to be a very productive and orderly day. You actually accomplish something right away in the beginning. It may be small, but it's important because it sets the tone. And it's also important because it allows us then to deliberate choices we make that establish a sense of control and purpose in our lives. And if you want to learn more about figuring out your dharma or your purpose, I have another great episode in the Framing New Heights library. So you can check that out. I think we got about close to 70 episodes in there, and you can check that out. It's called Finding Your Purpose or Finding Your Dharma. You know, small things are often more dangerous. And if we're just taking the spin and looking on the other side, they're often more dangerous than big things. And they're even more impactful if they get in through small openings. You know what I'm attempting to say here? Like, for example, this is unique here. Did you know that there are certain animals that are called keystone species? Okay, stick with me here. These species, the species themselves that entire ecosystems rely on, are salmon. Now, here's the catch. Salmon are another example of keystone species in the Pacific Northwest. Here's what's unique. As they migrate inland to spawn, they carry with them the essential nutrients that gather during their time spent in the open ocean. After they spawn, and then they die, their decomposed bodies deliver nitrogen and other key ingredients to the landscape around them. What this does, it supports the vegetation and everything else around it. So what happens? Bears that eat the salmon later leave their nutrient-rich gifts near trees further from the streams. So it's no secret that these salmon are essential for the health of the southern resident killer whales, Because without salmon, animals and ecosystems both offshore and inland would face major challenges. And here's yet another example of what small things can do. Think about this for a second. You're on a great ship, and there's a small leak, right? What's going to happen? Eventually, it's going to go down. Or think about this. Maybe there's an insignificant gas leak in your house. But if you neglect it, it could be catastrophic, right? Or think about this, even from what we say. A little outburst of temper. What does that do? Words and acts out of anger destroy so many families and relationships. I see it a lot, and I, being the coach and the life coach that I am, I get to see this so much and hear from other clients on how words destroy people. And I know when we were kids, we always used to sing that song. You guys remember that song? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me. I want to be a singer, but I never can be. The best singer I am is probably in the shower. But here's the lessons we can really learn from this important thing about little things, you guys. Is number one, it is the little details that are vital, right? How you carry yourself. Are you self-caring? Are you cutting your nails? Do you give yourself a manicure? Is appearance important to you? Because the little details that are vital are little things that make big things happen, right? You know, being in front of the camera a lot, being a content creator, I make sure that my nails are manicured. I haven't gone in a while, but I have gotten manicured nails. It's part of who I am, and I want to be, and I want to use self care to promote myself. Here's another thing about the importance of doing little things. To do a small thing well is the best proof of the ability to do what is great. Did you catch that? Did you hear that? Can you do the small thing well? Because that's proof of your ability to do something great. You know, when I had worked in education for a time, I would often clean my classroom or my gymnasium that I was in. And it was the little things, right? I felt like if I was in a clean environment, they say cleanliness is the closest thing to godliness. So you can expect great things. Accountability, right? We perish. Here's another one here about the importance of little things. We perish by what is little. Here's what I mean. Little negligence, little laziness, a little delay. Right? Here's another one. Small decisions, small steps, small gestures, small kindness. Guess what? They're not small. Here's another one. Every little thing we do leads to a bigger thing. Here's another important lesson here about little things. Great things are not done by impulsivity, but by a series of small things brought together. So the next time, mind the small things. There's an actual Bible passage I want to read to you guys, and just hear me out. I think this is a really good Bible passage, and it talks about small things. It's actually from I believe it's like Luke 16, chapter 10 through 14. Whoever can be trusted with small things can also be trusted with big things. Whoever is dishonest in little things will be dishonest in big things too. If you cannot be trusted with worldly riches, you will not be trusted with true riches. And if you cannot be trusted with the things that belong to someone else, you will not be giving anything of your own. I want to take you on a little bit of a visual here. I want you to think about the inner life for a second. or 2 seconds. How great and how serious can life become, right? When we consider all the conflicting forces of all the things that are present, even the thoughts of influences from the past, right? And the uncertainties of future days and years and realms of all these little things centering within us, producing yet another set of particular emotions that have so much to do with human life. So I've got something for you. The things we think about, those things we love or hate, the judgments we form, the words we speak, is the life we live. And all of these, small as they may be, concern us indefinitely. Because where do you think judgments occur, y'all? Sadly, they're formed upon insufficient, little knowledge based upon limited observation, thus influencing our personal feelings. Little things, right? We say yet so effective that sometimes it can be very destructive about and even within our human life. So what do we got to do? I challenge you to keep your heart open with all due diligence. For out of it are the issues, the true issues of life. And these small things, again, will lead to great things. Moreover, in the pursuit of our actual goals in life, we often encounter obstacles, setbacks, or brick walls, as I like to call, that can be very overwhelming. Am I right? I used to do this exercise, cooperative learning exercise, with many of students in high school, middle school. And the concept was just to move a mat with maybe 5 to 6 people of them from one end of the gym to the next. And the concept was you couldn't touch the floor. You know how many times I had groups make it all the way to the end, but yet to touch the floor, and then they had to start over? And when they started over, majority of them would bicker, complain, quit. So I go in with this example. Brick walls. Brick walls are there for a reason, y'all. Brick walls are not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to show how badly you truly want something. Because the brick wall is there to stop other people who don't want it badly enough. They are there to keep out those other people, and not you. So, during those challenging moments in life, you got to remember these two words: consistency and resilience. Because if you can narrow those two down, that will become evident. And when you're able to overcome obstacles and build resilience, and then once you've done that multiple times, you have mastered what I call the art of anti-fragility. And by persistently taking small steps forward, even in the face of adversity, we gradually build discipline, which then leads to momentum. Momentum leads to consistency, which that then leads to success, then building our ultimate dreams. So take into consideration this analogy for a second. Think about the sculptor chiseling away at this block of marble, right? And each stroke of that chisel may seem insignificant at the time, even on its own, right? But collectively and over time, they shape the masterpiece that lies within. Similarly, our daily efforts, no matter how small, you guys, contribute to the realization of our grandest visions. So let me even say this as well as about our character. Character, y'all, is measured with small things we do over time. They are especially measured when no one else is looking. And as we reflect on the significance of doing these little things, let's remember that the progress is not always linear, y'all. In fact, we often will have to probably start over several times before our efforts really yield any type of visible results. In fact, I did that many times. With just my programming with my clients, is when I was in the beginning stages and building my framework. I remember I had probably 75 pages worth of notes. I was like, this is not right. I started over. So my point to saying all that, in those moments of uncertainty, that is truly what defines us. And this is why I think my Live to Thrive programming is so successful, is because it really defines the commitment we have, right? And the belief that we have that our system or whatever we have really works. Because it's the commitment to consistency, and then the growth then is truly tested. So before we conclude today, I want to invite you just to ponder on this specific thought. What small action can you take today that will bring you closer to your aspirations, your goals, or even your dreams? Because remember, greatness is not achieved overnight. And in fact, Benjamin Franklin, it took him 6 years. So he failed 6 years to discover electricity. And this was done through an accumulation of small, purposeful steps, y'all. So the next time you throw that litter out of the window when you're driving in your car, I hope that got somebody. I want you to remember this. I've got 9 things for you to remember as I conclude here today. Do little things that magnify your destiny. Do little things that magnify your character. Do little things that magnify your happiness. Do little things that magnify your wealth. Do little things that magnify your health. Do little things that magnify your education. And remember this. Lessons learned can sometimes be too late. You know, are you quicker? Here's what's so interesting to me is we live in a society where we don't praise. You could do 100 things right, but then one thing happens, and then we get the insult. So are you quicker to find praise or an insult? Crazy, right? As we look upon that and reflect on that. So pick the small thing that builds your legacy, y'all. And thank you all for joining on this monumental journey of exploration and inspiration. And I know this was a short podcast today, but I think it was well intended and well driven. And until next time, keep framing new heights in your life. And as always, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. And stay flexed.